Hey, you guys, welcome back to Bright Violet Arts. My name is Valerie, and I am setting up my bullet journal today for the month of April 2024. My theme this month is going to be some pastel, whimsical flowers. They almost look like cartoon flowers. And to start off the design, I'm using a circle template to draw a cluster of larger circles with smaller circles inside of them, just to represent the outside and inside boundary for the center of the flower and then the petals. Now, on the petals, what I'm doing is I'm trying to give each flower that's side by side a different number of petals. So, like here, I've done 5 petals next to like 10, 12 petals on those 2 flowers. The other technique I'm using on flowers that are neighbors is I'm using different shapes of petals on side by side flowers. And then lastly, I drew in a couple ivy branches just to kind of fill it out. And now I'm going to use some leaves. I'm going to try to make different shapes of leaves on different blossoms. When I was sketching the design with a pencil, I didn't worry about making it too perfect because I knew I was going to ink it in with a fine liner. And when I'm doing the actual inking in, that's when I make that final choice about where each line goes to get the best result. And I'll just erase away all of those extra pencil lines that I didn't actually ink. You can color this design in with any sort of media that you want. You can use markers, colored pencils, watercolor, gouache, anything you want. I chose to use the Karen markers, the Pigment Deco brush line. This is a paint pen. It's a brush tip paint pen. And I really like to use it in my bullet journal because it gives me the result of like a nice opaque paint finish, but it does not bleed through the pages. They have a pastel set that has those 12 colors in it, and that's what I've chosen for my color palette for this month's setup. If you want to learn more about this particular set of markers, I will link them in my description box. So this month is kind of like a special month for me as far as my YouTube videos because April 2021 is the first time I ever put out a Plan With Me video. So that means this is my 3-year anniversary of sharing my bullet journal journey with all of you guys. So it's kind of exciting for me to be putting this video together. I really want to say a special thank you to everybody that has watched my videos over the years. It's truly a joy to have this outlet, this platform to share my work with you guys. I really, really enjoy it. And I love interacting with you guys and inspiring you guys to, try new things on your own creative journey, in your own journals or in your own artwork. Now, because I used a paint pen to color in my design, I have a unique problem, which is that I covered up some of the dark black outline that I did with my original fine liner. If I had used, say, water-based markers to color this in, I wouldn't be having this problem. But because I did use a paint pen that covered up some of that black, I'm going back over it again with a black paint pen. And this is going to make those black lines a lot bolder. Plus now in the wider black lines, I can go in with a white pen as I'm doing here to add some additional detail. All right, now that the design is finished, the main design, I am going to start adding washi tape all over this page. I'm really going crazy with the washi tape this month. I'm going to layer a black and white grid pattern with some solid colors. And here I'm using a stencil to go over the design. This is where I'm going to paint in a little oval to be my nameplate for the April title. I'm using the Ranger brand of archival ink to stamp in the word April. And I really like this particular ink over and above most of the other pigment inks I've tried. The Ranger brand seems to leave just really clear, dark, saturated color for the stamping. So it's one that I recommend. Now, because I am using these paint pens, I have the option to draw opaque lines over top of my washi tape. If you're using markers, like water-based markers, you may not be able to do this, but that's okay. You don't have to use washi tape to get a similar effect on this design at all. You can just do the flowers. You can add washi tape if you want. And here I'm going in to add the sparkles that I love to throw into all of my bullet journal setups whenever I can possibly make them fit or make sense. I love to draw sparkles. So I started out with an orange marker. When it was dry, I went back over the inside of it with a yellow marker, and then finally now I'm adding some white highlights with that white Posca pen. And then here is a look at the completed cover for my April setup. All right, moving on to the second spread of the April setup. This one is going to be my calendar spread, and I am using a floating box style for the calendar layout. And to bring in some of this pastel color, I'm just randomly selecting a few boxes of the month. These are not special days, it's just random colors in some of the boxes. And then I'll use my stamps over some washi tape. I have a white ink, but it's not very opaque and it's kind of like, I don't know, slimy, I guess. I don't really like, it's kind of cheap ink. So to help it set and look better, I'm going over it with a white paint pen that'll dry nice and opaque. And then using a black paint pen, I'm adding in the dates for each box. And now I'm going to cut a small flap here for a Dutch door. Behind that Dutch door, I'm going to use that space for a habit tracker and for a task list. But in the meantime, just finishing off the front of the flap, I'm drawing another oval to stamp in the word April over top of some washi tape and, of course, some more sparkles. Now, because I cut away a flap for a Dutch door on the calendar, it reveals part of the page beneath it in the shape of this column here, this vertical drop. So I'm going to fill this column with flowers in the same style as I did for the cover page. And once again, I'm using a 0.7 millimeter black Posca pen to outline those shapes and finish off the structure of each flower. I'm also going to go back to my white Posca pen to do a few more details on those flowers. And then I'm going to use my oval stencil again to draw another oval for the title here over this washi tape. This is going to be a task list that folds out from the calendar. Just my monthly tasks. I think I left enough room here for like 10 different tasks. I'm making the lines kind of a thick gray paint pen to write over top of, and like just a regular black felt tip pen to fill them in. And then I'm using a stencil again to draw circles that I can check off once each task is completed. On the opposite side of the Dutch door inset, I am stamping out miniature calendars for my 6 habits that I'm going to track this month. And I will fill in the name of each particular habit in these pink boxes that I've painted. I surrounded the whole thing with a black paint pen border, and then I just put in a little motivational quote here at the bottom. Thought that was kind of cute. And here is a look at the open Dutch door with the flowers. And now it's time to dive right into the weeklies. This is the first weekly spread for the month, and I have decided just to do some overlapping boxes. I'm going to have 7 full-size boxes and then this one little small box in the leftover space to be a task area where I can just write any tasks that need to get done through the week but don't have a particular day that they have to be scheduled for. I did fill in some of the areas between boxes with more flowers and more sparkles. And here's a look at the final first week layout. Now I'm setting up the second weekly. It's in a different style. I did want all of the weekly layouts to be a little different from each other this month. I did find a place to put notes and tasks, and then a little box at the bottom for next week. Here's a final look at week 2. I loved week 2. It was probably my favorite of the month. Week 3 is somewhat similar in design to week 2, just using horizontal spaces for each day of the week. But I still got in a task box and a note box and some more flowers for this one. So there's a final look at week 3. Moving into the fourth week, I am using boxes again for each day's notes and tasks. This is similar to what I did with the first week, but here's a look at how that one all turned out with a little washi tape thrown in to keep it all cohesive. Here we are on the fifth weekly spread for the month. This is actually going to be the last page of my setup. I only had 2 days to create tasks box for. That was just for the 29th and the 30th. And then I'm leaving space to record my favorite couple of songs for the month. Also, a place to record memories and current events. And now it's time for a final flip through of the design I set up for this month. So I'm really happy with it. I like how whimsical it is, but it also has kind of like a graphic industrial thing going with the black and white grid pattern on the washi tape. So I really like it. I hope you guys liked it too. As always, I appreciate so much you guys taking the time to check out the video. I hope you enjoy the channel. If you missed last month's video, give it a look. We got quite a bit of growth on this channel from the last month's video, the March Plan with Me. So I'm going to link that in my description box as well. If you have any comments or questions, please hit the comment area in this video and I will do my best to get back to you. I love to find out what you think of the designs and any questions you have. I like to be helpful if I can in answering those. So I hope you guys have a fantastic April and I hope to see you again next month in my next video. Until then, thanks so much and happy journaling.